Wow, an emotionally charged moment on the stage of the Grammy Awards last night in New York. That singer Kesha, who has been tied up in a legal battle with her producer over alleged sexual abuse. She delivered one of the night's most dramatic moments, performing her hit song, Praying. And the evening marked the continued strength of the so-called Me Too movement.
Performers and presenters displayed a show of solidarity with the victims of sexual harassment and abuse. But beyond the stage, there is a growing backlash against the movement, and it's beginning to affect women in the workplace and those the movement was designed to protect.
They want to talk about that right now. And joining us is Catalina Avalos. She's a former sex crimes prosecutor and judge in Broward County. She's now the director of law firm Tripp Scott in Fort Lauderdale, and she specializes in labor and employment litigation. And thank you so much for being here.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Talking about this issue, I want to ask you, what is the Me Too backlash and how is it manifesting itself in the workplace?
Well, I think we're seeing that men are starting to be a little bit more cautious in terms of hiring women, or perhaps having second thoughts about hiring women. In our profession, let's say the legal field, right, there could be a senior partner who has the option of taking a young male attorney or a young female attorney with her to trial and may think twice based on the allegations. And I think if we saw something last night from the Grammys, is that the Me Too now seems to extend a little bit on the Time's Up, right, to not just the sexual harassment, but trying to prevent discrimination and demanding equal pay. So that's something to be on the lookout for. I think this topic is going to continue.
So have you seen examples of this? Have women been coming in and talking to you about kind of facing this backlash? And then what is the recourse for them if they do feel like they're sidelined?
Sure. I haven't seen examples yet come up, but what I have seen is men expressing concerns and say, well, how do we handle this? How do we handle, for example, if we have a female who is a subordinate and we have to talk about different issues? Do we call her in our office, leave the door open? And that's always a good idea. You should always try to leave the door open. You should always, if you can have somebody else in the room with you, it's recommended. And what are the recourses? The recourses are having a strong HR department where people can go and express their concerns, having policies that are clear and that will be followed.
We reported on a story last week involving a former advisor to Hillary Clinton during her presidential campaigns in 2008, who was alleged to have harassed a subordinate, someone working under him on the campaign. But instead of firing him, the report is that Hillary Clinton simply docked his pay and then moved the woman who was the accuser in this case to a different sort of department within the campaign. So what are the responsibilities? She's obviously facing some criticism for all of that. But what are an employer's responsibilities when allegations like this come to light? What do they have to do legally, and what should they do?
Well, their responsibilities are, number one, to listen to the complaint, number two, investigate it, and take corrective action so that you prevent it from happening again. In Ms. Clinton's case, it looks like they moved her, they left him unaffected, basically, but I don't think we're ever going to really find out because there's probably some confidentiality agreement that prevents that from coming to light.
So what is your advice to men in the workplace? They want to be part of the solution, let's say, but they're the ones who are coming to you saying, I'm a little bit nervous about hiring a woman, or I'm a little bit nervous about, interacting in any way. What would your advice be to them?
Use common sense. Respect people's personal space, right? If we look at all of the harassment allegations, they seem to have a common denominator, and that's there's some unwanted touching, unlawful touching. It goes beyond just the inappropriate comment. So let's use common sense. Let's be respectful of our coworkers, whether they're females or males, because it can happen both ways, and have policies that are followed.
But maybe this wouldn't be the problem it is now if we had more women in positions of power. Do you see that possibly as a result of all of this?
Well, I think as time progresses, I think women are escalating to more positions of power, but I think we also have to be cognizant of the fact that women can be in a position to be a harasser, right? So the idea is, let's have some policies, let's respect people's personal space, and let's make sure that the companies don't turn a blind eye or sweep it under the rug.
Absolutely.
Great information. Catalina Avalos of the law firm Tripp Scott in Fort Lauderdale. Thanks so much for coming on and talking to us about this.
Thank you.
Thank you.